Hello students, this is assistance on the text and questions for the Second Crusade. Before we begin reading these three little paragraphs here, or four paragraphs, we are going to look at the questions that you are being asked so that you will know what to listen for as we read. So one thing we want to know is that the Second Crusade lasted from 1147 to 1149, and we know that from previous work we've done in class. Question number one asks, what happened in 1144 that caused Christians to call for another crusade? So notice 1144 is before the Second Crusade started. So we've got to keep that in mind. Question two, Pope Urban II had started the First Crusade. Which person called for the Second Crusade? So we're looking for the name of someone. Question three, what were three major goals of the Second Crusade? So we're going to write those right there, three major goals. Question four, the First Crusade included mostly French people. So this is someone else in your group read about the First Crusade. Which countries were involved in the Second Crusade? Question five, at the end of the Second Crusade, who was in charge of Jerusalem, Christians or Muslims? And you're just going to figure out which one of those. So we're going to learn that for every single crusade that we're talking about in class. And number six, consult with the person who read about the First Crusade. What was the difference in the Muslim forces between the First and Second Crusade? So for this one, you actually have to talk to the person who read the First Crusade so that you can get that answer. So let us go ahead and go up to the reading and let's read about the Second Crusade. I'm going to be marking the text as we go. The Christian Crusaders reclaimed Jerusalem in the First Crusade in large part due to the crumbling of the Seljuk Empire. And I know that the Seljuks are the Muslims. A lack of unity among Muslims proved to be their largest weakness. This weakness was one that they could not overcome. However, Muslims realized that their lack of unity was the cause of their demise. So this is really talking about in the First Crusade. So the person who did the First Crusade, hopefully they know that. Muslims reunited and in 1144 captured the county of Edessa, one of the kingdoms created to guard Jerusalem following the First Crusade. So I know that in one of those questions it asked what had happened in 1144. Going on to paragraph 2. This huge victory for the Muslims quickly caught the attention of European leaders. Recognizing their territory invaded again and a resurgence of Muslim power, Pope Eugene launched the Second Crusade. And if we want to be really technical, it's probably pronounced Eugen. Like the First Crusade, serfs, knights, and lords rallied around the Pope's call and were determined to reclaim the lost territory. Again, the goal was to protect Jerusalem. That's goal 1. Goal 2, secure safe passage for Christian pilgrims. We talked about pilgrims who go to the Holy Land. And third goal, recapture the county of Edessa. So those are things we are looking for the goals of the Second Crusade. The army for this crusade was larger than the one assembled for the First Crusade. Instead of being mostly French soldiers, this army was drawn from 3 major nations, England, France, and Germany. However, even with a larger army, the crusade ended in failure for the Christians. So that sounds like something I definitely want to think about. Muslims had expanded well into Asia Minor, and the Christian army was beaten before ever reaching the Holy Land. The defeat of the Christian crusaders at the Second Crusade left Jerusalem vulnerable. And I can see that right up here it tells me that vulnerable means susceptible or open to be attacked. Edessa, one of Jerusalem's 4 major kingdoms, had fallen. Without another large-scale war, it would be only a matter of time before Muslims would conquer the city. So it's telling us that the Second Crusade did not end well for the Christians. So at this time, you can go ahead and answer these questions so that you can share with other people in your group. I hope this helps you on your education journey.